get this over with.
Hello, Troop 2 for 2, and welcome back. We are here for recreation time once again. Today we have 3 contestants. Contestants, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Joy.
For the time being, I'm Brett.
And I'm Brandon.
And they are going to play a game called Celebrity Interview. Woo! So the way this game works, Joy and Brandon are our interviewers. Brett is the interviewee answering questions that the interviewers ask. But the thing is, Brett doesn't know who he is. He has to try to guess who he is, whether it's a celebrity or a character or anything like that, from the questions that the interviewers ask him. Are you guys ready?
Ready?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get started.
Good evening from News Channel 11. This is Joy Eden, your anchor here, and our intern, Brandon.
I am not an intern. I'm an executive. We've talked about this many times. We are here today with a very special guest. Very glad to have you in the studio.
Pleased to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, you and your friends have had many wonderful adventures and have started to kind of make a name for yourself, I think. Tell me, what do you think is your favorite adventure you've ever been on?
Oh, well, the way it is with adventure is that adventure calls you. You don't really pick adventure. And my favorite was probably the one where there was water and trees and those unsavory characters. And just navigating that whole situation by my wits and by my brawn.
Certainly,
So-
and your parents themselves, many adventures, though a bit distant now. What has that relationship been like?
Oh, well, you've probably heard some, but parents can be parents and children certainly can be children, especially when I'm the child.
Yes, you are the child.
You are the child.
Yeah, and what a child you are. And I guess I've always wondered, you are so famous for something that really you had no hand in whatsoever. How have you managed all of that fame?
Well, a small hand, very tiny.
Oh, that's true.
Very
That's a good joke.
child
Even
size.
for an intern. Yes.
I'm sensing some tension. Yeah, well, managing fame is kind of like managing hair. You need to take it a follicle at a time.
You have a lot of experience with that, do you?
Well, not as much as some.
Sure.
But more than others.
Interesting.
Speaking of hair and styling, you have a very obvious kind of mark to you. How do you live with that in daily life? What's your skincare regimen to kind of keep that bright and shining?
Oh, right. Well, a secret to that is to use butter.
Butter.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes,
Never would have
or
thought of that.
sometimes straight lard if you don't have the butter.
Sure,
Yes.
straight lard. Now, I guess I've wondered, the school that you've attended is so interesting. I mean, learning about the magical arts. What a wonderful education. What has your
Right.
experience been with Hogwarts? so
Well,
far?
it's pick the right wand.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once you picked the right wand, and then the right friends,
Yep.
it really helps your journey at school.
Okay.
And who
Yes.
is your exclusive here? Who's your favorite friend?
Oh, my favorite friend would be the flying car.
That's wrong, but it's been wonderful to have you on the
Thank you.
show. Do you know
Thank
who you are at this point?
Am I indeed Harry Potter?
You are.
Excellent. I've seen one of those movies.
From Channel 11, this is Joy Eden, your anchor, and our intern, Brandon. Have a great night.
Again, the executive. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
All right, Troop 2 for 2, thank you so much for joining us again. That was a great game. I think our news anchors did a great job asking questions, and Brett is a great guesser. Well, until next week, Troop 2 for 2, bye.
You guys want to hear this song I just wrote? I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away. Pretty good, huh? Well, it's time to sing some other songs because it's time for worship. So stand up, jump around a bit, and get ready to sing along at the top of your lungs.
Howdy ho, campers, and welcome to our time of worship. Please join in with us, and if you know the motions, you can do those too. I believe Counselor Amber is going to show us some of those the first time through, so please sing along with us. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. That's very good. Let's do it again. What do you say? Yes, I will serve the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all my strength. Yes, I will serve the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all my strength. With all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, with all my strength. Yes, I will serve the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all my strength.
Well, kangaroos get Joey's, but here I am talking to Chloe. How are ya?
I'm great, Mr. Nathan.
Wow, you look like it's going great. What's going on?
Oh, well, okay, so I got kicked out of class, but I really didn't need to. I thought I saw a bear, but then Amber said it couldn't be a bear, because she said it was too small, but I swear it had to be a bear, because it was so big, but then it could be a baby bear, because baby bears have to be smaller than big bears. But Amber said it had to be a groundhog, because it was too small. But I saw a really big groundhog once, and the big groundhog and the little baby bear probably are about the same size, right? That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought you'd agree with me. And then so the teacher said that I was being too disruptive, and I had to leave class, but I really, really want to be in class. But also the campfire is great, too.
Well, you seem to have a lot of energy. Where's? Oh.
I got a soda.
I just one.
No, this is my third one today.
Oh my!
I want to try all the flavors because the canteen has cola flavored and strawberry flavored and watermelon flavored, but I didn't really like that one the first time, but the second time I tried it, it was a lot better. Ooh. They also have grape flavored and orange flavored, and then they have lemon lime, but the lemon lime and the cherry don't really go together.
Just a second. That's a lot of soda. Do you usually drink a lot of soda?
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm not allowed to have it at home because my mom says it makes me too hyper, but I don't really think I don't really get that. Do you get that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Like, I don't get too hyper when I drink too much soda, but so when I came to camp, she gave me the canteen fund, and I was like, oh, I can use this to get candy or snacks, and I was like, oh, they have soda, and they have so many flavors. I want to try them all and try all the different combinations, so I try to drink them all at once.
Okay. Chloe, this is making me think about a story in the. Could I tell you about a story in the Bible?
Oh my goodness, yes! I love stories in the Bible. I like the story about Noah and the one about the prodigal son, and I like the one about Moses because that one's like it's really powerful and like all the plagues are crazy.
Yeah.
And then I also really like some of the parables that Jesus tells, and I like the stories about the early church. Yeah, what story do you want to tell me?
So, Jesus at the start of his ministry, he went out into the wilderness.
Yeah.
He knew that God was doing amazing things and that his ministry was going to change the world.
He did.
Yeah, absolutely.
He knew.
And at the beginning of it, he went to the wilderness to pray and to fast. And while he was there, he was tempted 3 times. And Satan brought 3 different temptations to him. No one was there with him to see. But Jesus decided not to turn the stones into bread. He decided not to call on angels to save him. He decided not to make his name really famous. And now it wasn't because there was a whole lot of people there watching him or his mom was there to say, make sure and don't do that. It was because Jesus knew that this time, it was for preparing for his ministry, that God had bigger things in store, that God was using this time. And it makes me wonder if sometimes even if we don't have our mom or dad right there with us, but we still know the right thing to do, because even though we don't have our mom or our dad or another adult with us all the time to tell us what we should and shouldn't do, I think maybe we know that drinking 4 sodas in one day isn't that good for us or for the people around us. Maybe we could learn a lesson from the way that Jesus turned down temptations because he knew there was a higher purpose or something more important.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So you're saying I'm not allowed to drink soda anymore? Just
Well,
like my mom says?
I just think that maybe there's lots of other kinds of snacks at the canteen, and maybe we could do some of those instead of sodas. And I'm really excited to see how awesome this week is going to be for you and for everyone around you. Oh, and that's the dinner bell. It's time for us to go. How about we leave the soda? Let's go have some water. And I'm excited about we're going to have an awesome week here together.
I think so. Definitely. Definitely. This is like the best camp, and it's a great place to be.
Well, oh my goodness, and zippity-o, we've got a plan, and we are all set to go. Come on, Chloe.
Let's go.
Even in the wilderness, God will show his faithfulness. He guides us to where we can be, in his presence and a light for all to see. All right, let's sing it again. Even in the wilderness, God will show his faithfulness. He guides us to where we can be, in his presence and a light for all to see.
Counselor Nathan! Oh,
Are you down, buddy?
kind of worn out.
I am exhausted.
What happened?
I had one 2-minute conversation with Chloe, and let me tell you, she was bouncing off the walls.
Oh no. Did she get into sugar?
She did it again.
Oh no.
She always says that she's not allowed to have soda at home, but she came this year and she spent all of her money at the canteen on soda, and then she got kicked out of class, and because she couldn't stop talking and she was distracted and disrupted, and it was so difficult. I'm just worn out from talking to her.
I can tell.
But you know, it made me think about the story of Jesus in the wilderness.
How so?
Well, Jesus had these temptations, and I think maybe like Chloe, I think she maybe just wanted to have a great time at camp and thought maybe a little extra energy could help her have a good time or something like that. But Satan showed Jesus these temptations, and Jesus had the strength and the faithfulness and the trust in God to turn down those temptations in the wilderness. And I just tried to help Chloe make a plan so that next time we have canteen, she maybe doesn't need to get 3 or 4 sodas like she did last time. And I just hope that could maybe let us all relax a little bit.
I think one of the things we have to remember about the stories of Jesus being tempted is that Jesus wanted to do what God wanted him to do, and God had this plan for him, but the temptations were to do something else and still try to get what God wanted for him.
Like we all want Chloe to have a good week of camp.
Exactly. That's just not the way to do it.
Right.
And that's one of the lies of that story. My favorite lie in the story of the temptation of Jesus is that Satan tells Jesus, if you just bow down to me, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the earth.
Satan doesn't seem like that kind of a guy. He doesn't seem like the sharing type.
My guess is he was
lying.
Yeah, and that's what temptations do. They lie to us. Jesus was going to get all the kingdoms of the earth, but to do that, he had to go through what God was calling him to do. And Chloe can have a great week. She just needs to follow the things that she knows she's supposed to do.
And that's going to help her and all of us
Yes.
have a great week.
That's the tricky thing about the wilderness of temptations is that when we get stuck in that kind of whirlwind of lies, they start sounding a lot like truth, unless we can have someone like Counselor Nathan to help us check that truth against those lies, because we have to be sure that if we want to follow God's will, we're doing it God's way, because sometimes we're trying to get it by our own way, and that's just never going to work out for ourselves. Any of those temptations that Satan presented Jesus with would not have gotten him to the ultimate plan that God had for Jesus' life, which was the cross. Not an easy way, but the right way. So I think that the lesson we can all learn from this is that the wilderness of temptations is not easy, but the good thing is you don't have to be there alone. You can find friends that can help you tell the truth and the lies, and then you can know the right way, God's way, to get to the goal where you want to be, which is God's will for all of our lives, as a community, as a church, and as a family, and as an individual. Will you pray with me? God, we thank you that you have shown us through your Son the way to deal with temptation. Even though it's hard and tricky, and sometimes those lies just sound so much like truth. Please help us to have discernment, to tell the difference. Help us to reach out to friends when we need advice. Help us to grow closer as a church family so that we can be able to help one another when we are in that wilderness of temptation, because we want to do your will. Help us to do your will your way. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Troop 2 for 2.
Here for you.
Where the fire's hot and the water's cold.
Well, it's time for us to climb into our sleeping bags. That's a wrap for this week's Troop 2 for 2. Have a good night, everybody.
You're green. We
magenta.
Can all, we can all
I'm
see it.
definitely green.
Yes.
I'm definitely green.
Yeah, yeah. And you are, of course, famous for being the only character to cross over from one very famous television show to the other. And you've had multiple movies adapting classic
Of course
tales.
I have.
How do you handle
because
the
I
fame?
am a frog of the world.
Frog of the World is what no one calls you, but sure.
It's your maybe lesser known nickname.
And do you know your first name?
Oh, I do not. Kermit. Who is Kermit? I'm not kidding. Sorry. Kermit too.
This is all for the show. I'm
He's
gonna
the
quit
intern.
now.
He's the intern, and
I am
I'm
in charge, the
anchor
executive,
here.
some would
Have
say.
a great night.
Kermit who? Kermit the Frog. I'm not kidding.